Um, Good afternoon. I am Josefina Bonilla, and you are watching the Roar webinar series with special guests, Marcela, Aldaz, and Matt Brewster, who are going to be talking about Small Business Strong. Welcome.
Thank you, Josefina. Hola. Buenas tardes. Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Great to be here.
So on Wednesdays, we spend Wednesdays talking about small businesses, and I think how appropriate that your focus is on small businesses and how to make sure that, during the pandemic and beyond, we are able to stay focused, strong, and have the resources that we need to continue thriving and growing. So can you both talk a little bit about Small Business Strong, what it means, and then we'll just start the thread of conversation there.
Yeah, sure, and I can get the conversation started. To begin with, thank you again, Josefina, for inviting us and for inviting Small Business Strong to be part of this important webinar. Small Business Strong is a public and private sector association that was created to help women and minority-owned small business owners overcome the devastating impact of COVID-19, the COVID-19 pandemic. Business Strong specifically provides pro bono resources to small businesses. And that pro bono services, they range from access to capital to consulting, business restructuring, business growth consultation, digital marketing, customer engagement plans, communications plans, and so on. So long story short, basically what we do is to get together with these small businesses, and we provide consultation services as one of the different offerings that we have in our portfolio. And through this consultation, we help business owners create a roadmap or a plan to be able to overcome the difficulties that they are facing right now, as I mentioned at the beginning, because of the impact of COVID-19.
So I'm going to stop you there. And before we go on, let's talk about a particular small business. I'm a small business owner. I am overwhelmed with what's going on with the pandemic. My business is suffering. What do I do? First step, and we'll go to the second step. And Matt,
perfect. And even better, I will share an example of one of the companies, the small businesses that I'm working with, which is a daycare. So the step number one is to visit the website. We are a platform.
So the website is smallbusiness.com.
Yeah, it's www.smallb.org. So it's small b.
Okay.
Strong.
Okay, super. And so I go in, and what do I do next?
What you do next is that you are going to see on the website, on the front page, an icon that says Consultant Advisor. So you want to click on it, and immediately after, the page will take you to a second page that will ask you to fill out a form, which is very simple. It takes less than 5 minutes to fill it out. And what we ask is for your business name, very high level description of the business, your name, the name of the business owner, email, the type of a service that you're looking for, your language of preference, and that's it. After that, you just hit submit. And on the back end, we will receive that information. One of our team members will receive that information, which then will be sent or submitted to one of the business advisors that work and that provide support for Small Businesses Strong. And the next step is that we will contact you. No, actually before that, you will get an email indicating, well, thanking you for asking us to be one of your providers. And then after that, one of us will contact you via email or on the phone. So I think that this is what is different, Josefina, which is the fact that we're trying to make it very personalized, meaning making sure that it is going to be a live person, a real person getting in touch with you.
So Marcela, let's take a step back. Marcela and Matt, let's take a step back. I am at a place where I'm a little overwhelmed with what's going on, right? So I may not know what I need because immediately what I'm thinking about is money, right? So that's your go-to thought is, are you going to give me money, right? But beyond that, there's all these things that you can get service-wise that can help you with your business. For example, accounting. For example, a consultant that can help you plan your, create a business plan, things like that. And then we have a question that we currently have on, and I just want to make sure that people understand that you're there as a resource for not just the go-to, oh my God, money. We all need the money, right? But this is beyond the money. This is thinking more strategically and trying to help you out.
Yeah, I can jump in there a little bit, just because it's a great question. And just actually, I'm going to build on a little bit of what Marcela was saying in terms of what happens. And it's related to the point you made about advice, which is that not only do you get personalized service, but we take a lot of care in matching businesses with advisors who have experience in the specific sector that your business is operating in. Of course, speak the language that you speak. We have a lot of bilingual business advisors and can bring specialized expertise, sector, skill set, functional experience. And we competitively selected these folks to participate in.
So important. It's so important. These resources are incredibly important. Before we go on, Marcela, and I'm going to keep doing that, cutting you off. Actually, we're having a conversation, but we have a question regarding if you apply once, right, and you get the service that you're looking for, can you reapply again?
Yes, yeah, the answer is yes.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And if you've been into the program, this is a little in the weeds, but it sounds like this person might have been in the program, which we're grateful for. You can actually reply to the email you got when your case was closed to reopen it. And we did that very intentionally. We want the door to always be open to helping out. And we know that the needs don't end after a consultation with an advisor. Absolutely.
And as a small business, it's great to know that you have help. And that you have some guidance in the background, right, to help you. So Marcela, talk to us about the next steps.
So after that, the next steps, it's we set up a one-on-one consultation, and when I say we, it's actually the business advisor that is being assigned to you, as Matt described before. Based on your needs, based on the type of industry that you're in, and so on. So we will, as an example, I will call you, set up that meeting with you. We will have an initial consultation, and we will have a discussion about your business. What are your needs? What is going on? The main idea with this meeting is for me or for us to have an understanding of your current state of what is going on, like where are you? And going back to your point before, Josefina, because we want to help you understand what is the problem. Because sometimes what you think is your problem is not the most critical, the most important problem. So because we have the experience and the expertise, then we have this conversation with you. It's kind of like a diagnosis, what we do on this first meeting. We create so kind of like a current state, and after that, we move into a next step, which is connecting you with an expert within the team, which is what is called a functional specialist. So the first conversation is with a business advisor, which is kind of like your case manager for your business. We as case managers or business advisors then identify internally within the network or the group of specialists and experts that we have built and created, the one that we believe is the right person or expert to help you get out or create a plan to get out or overcome a situation that can be related to expense management, accounting, marketing, communications, human resources, you name it. We, the business advisor, will help you identify what is your priority and will give you a recommendation in terms of what is that thing or that immediate next step that you need to take. To make it a little bit more real, Fina, I'm gonna give you the example that I was talking about before, which is that this daycare. When I met with the owner, I asked her what was going on, and then she told me that as a result of the pandemic, she did no longer have 20 kids, but 5. And the reason was because the program with the vouchers was no longer around. And as a result, she only have 5 parents that were able to still afford taking the kids to daycare. But what happens is that her expenses are very significant. Her revenue is lower than those expenses. So we talked about initially about how to reduce those expenses, of how to do initially an expense control, an expense reduction. And then after that, we discussed, so I helped her connect with someone to help her identify the specific strategy to market her business. And just to put the word out there to be able to increase the number of kids coming to her daycare. So that was something very specific that we did, very helpful. That she's still in the program. That doesn't mean that because we help solve one problem, that was it. I think that the beauty with this program is that we have the ability and expertise to help you in different fronts.
Yeah, I just want to build on that. Sorry, Josefina, I just want to build on actually a point you made earlier, and that point from Marcela related to your comment about access to capital. We know that survey after survey shows that small businesses rank access to capital as the #1 thing that they need, and especially right now when they've seen revenues take a major hit related to the pandemic. And what we found as advisors, and we're seeing hundreds and hundreds of examples, is that there's always a need to fill gaps in revenue, but what's more important is understanding the fundamentals of your business, those expense controls, like what is your cash flow forecast, and how can you move to a more sustainable business model in the short term while the pandemic goes on, and in the medium term as we hopefully get out of this. So we certainly have helped many businesses access grants to help fill the gaps that they have in loans or other investments. But it's really important to understand the fundamentals of the financials of your business and the business model, and making sure you're managing your team correctly. Because we see a lot of businesses that have taken on loans that are not responsible for them to take on, and they have a capital need, but their business as it was operating couldn't really repay that, and it wouldn't have been a good result for them to just get a loan from one of the many online players. So really good point that you made, Josefina, earlier.
Plus, I think one of the key things is that small business owners, sometimes we have to pivot and move to a different type of business, or provide other services that are within or low-hanging fruit opportunity, right? And I feel like consultants, you're able to look at that and look at your numbers, your P&L, profit and loss statement, where you're spending the money, and possibly have this kind of new idea. Well, I don't have 20 kids to look after, I have 5. What other services can I offer that are within my mission or my value statements, right?
Yeah.
I come in. It's so essential.
No, and I think, Josefina, you're making such an important point, because sometimes, like, given the circumstances, Small business owners are just so busy. A lot of people is like everyone just thinking about the crisis and how to get out, that we lose perspective of the big picture. And sometimes we just don't have the time to take a step back and rethink, to your point. So how do we do this differently? Can we take a different approach? And I think that having people, an outsider like a Matt or myself or any of the other business advisors come in and help you take that step back, or perhaps bring a different perspective, it is really helpful. As an example, Josefina, one thing that we have found, and I think it's just fascinating, one of the areas in which we are being asked to provide support the most is with marketing, digital marketing as an example, because a lot of these small businesses were not necessarily set up or didn't have the level of sophistication to be able to deliver their services and offering on a digital platform. So now we are at a moment in which almost everything is virtual. Having that digital expertise, or not expertise, but knowledge of basic savviness is a must. And if you're not there, you're in a huge disadvantage. So those are, like as an example, one of the key points or areas in which we're providing support to small businesses.
As a matter of fact, Right Media, for the company that I run, that's what we're getting the most requests for. Is how do I build an email list? How do I send out a email blast that will create traffic for myself, my business, whatever I'm doing? So from my perspective, I've seen that more than anything else. And how do I convert and have meetings like this? Where I can create an impact. So to your point, we've seen it from our end. People are fearful of something that they haven't done in the past. Before we move on, Marcela, if you don't mind, there is another question that came up, and that is the service that you're offering. Do you have a time frame for that service? Is it going to go beyond the end of the year? Beginning of next year? What are your thoughts on that?
I was going to ask Matt if you can take that
on. You know, when the steering committee, who's generously supported this effort, you know, had the discussion about how long to have this effort available, we started answering the question of how long the COVID pandemic will be around. And I think we can safely say right now that it's very much with us, and the path to recovery will take a very long time. So we're going to be around the rest of the year, absolutely, and well into 2021.
I love it. I mean, I honestly think that this is so needed in our communities of color, for sure, because one place to go to that can help direct you to the resources that you need. This is so important, and it's perfect, right on time.
And we know that business owners' needs will evolve. We know that it's going to change, and we're constantly changing the expertise and specialists that we have. Like Marcela said, it's a great point. We're seeing a lot more marketing support requests, and initially it was finance and people wanting loans and helping navigate PPP. Hopefully more of that will come if the federal side figures itself out. But we can't wait on that. So people have turned to accessing customers in new ways, and there might be new things that come up, and we're going to continue to pivot and get specialists that meet the needs.
Marcela, you were saying something else.
Yeah, no, that I was going to say that it's pro bono, right? So what a great do. I want to, it's just call to action and invite everyone that is watching it right now to visit the website. Again, it's at www.smallbstrong.com, and just navigate the website. There are a number of resources as well, because it's not in addition to the consulting services that we provide. There are a number of curated information that we have put in the library. on the Small Business Strong library that talks about how to manage your finances, marketing, communications plans, and so on. So it's something that you can also do in your on your own time and your own pace. And I know that Matt and his team spend many hours identifying the information that we believe is going to help and is very impactful.
Well, Marcela, a key point is that it's curated, which means that you have gone and you've looked for it, you have acknowledged it, you have gone in, and now you're saying, this is something that might be useful for you. And that is key because, as you know, there's a lot of overwhelming information. But again, a one-stop place where you can have the resources that you need in order to be successful, that's so big. That's huge.
Yeah. And it weeds out any resource that is charging usury rates or fees. We focus on free resources that are zero cost to small businesses, the same way that our advice is as well. So
we have another question that's just popping up, and what they want to know is how beyond these type of webinars are you going and approaching the small businesses? How are you getting them to subscribe to what you offer?
We have, so in terms of, and I am going to interpret that question as the effort that we're making to promote the work that we do. So number one, we have a in-house, a team of professionals in the area of marketing that have put together this very comprehensive marketing campaign, number one, that is helping to reach out a lot of people. I don't have the numbers right now in terms of how many, but what I can tell you though is that only the month of August, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that we did sign up close to 200 businesses.
Yeah, and one of the weeks, I think we had 120 in 1 week. And a lot of that is thanks to great social media efforts from the great team we have. And also just people like Josefina, yourself, and others promoting it in the community and just spreading the good word.
Yeah, we are also, and just to finalize, Fina, in addition to it, we are also doing a lot of community engagement, a grassroots type of approach in which we're doing this by partnering with some organizations that actually what they're doing is picking up the phone and calling business owners one by one in Spanish, in Portuguese, and English, and just having a conversation, real conversation with them, letting them know of Small Business Strong and inviting them also to become or to be part of the program. That has been very successful as well.
I know that Mass has a minority list of small businesses that are women-owned or minority-owned enterprises. Are you tapping those lists as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We actually just, we're proud to have put out our first community newsletter highlighting some success stories of businesses that our advisors have served, and also emailed folks we hope will participate, including the folks on the list you mentioned, Josefina, so they received the email as well. So look for that in your inbox, and there's a link in there to consult an advisor.
I love that. I love that. I think, so we have another question in terms of, you said that you have 200 people. Let me just look at the question because I'm getting them not only from here, but on my phone and on our Facebook. So I just want to synthesize some of these into one question. You said that you have 200 people that signed up in August. How many more people do you expect to get? What's your blue sky number? Do you have one?
We had initially, going into this month, thought about trying to reach another 200 through the rest of the year. So we'd be delighted to do that. So I think that's our near-term blue sky, so that we can reach well over 500 for this year in total.
I love
Right now, I believe right now we're close to 400.
Yeah, we're approaching. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, folks that don't have social media, they don't have, like bodegueros or small grocery stores that may not have social media or may not have access to, they haven't gone through the system in terms of mass supplier diversity or whatever enterprise they call it. So they're not on any type of list. How do you hope to get to those people? I know you mentioned community type of advocacy, Marcela.
So we are working directly in the community with their business organizations. Like some of them, they have Chamber of Commerce associations. Some other have a small business owners associations and so on. So we have a strategically identified in specific geographical areas across the state. Partners that are helping us doing that outreach. So like as an example, I believe very recent, we did something in Lawrence with the Latino Federation. And as a matter of fact, I believe they got to 300 businesses in terms. This is the group I was making a reference to before. This is the group that decided to pick up the phone. They recruited probably 5 or 6 volunteers, got them one day in a room, everyone sitting there with their phones, just making calls the entire weekend because we were gonna have a big event. So step number 1 was to let them know about Business Strong, invited them to come to the webinar, which was a bilingual webinar. But after that, those small business owners, they know that they still can go back to the Latino Federation and use them as a bridge to get in touch with us.
Oh, I love that. I think it's essential when you can do that, when you can tap and leverage your connections both in the community, in the social media space, and it feels like you're doing all those things.
Yes, yeah. At the end of the day, Josefina, we're in this together. We know that there is unfortunately a digital divide in our communities. A lot of the bodegueros, the barbers, and things like that, they don't have access or they don't have the time. So we do know that we have that responsibility to find the means and the ways to get to them. So that was the reason why Small Business Strong was created, because we understand the gap, we understand the disparity that is there. We do not want to contribute to this disparity because of the digital divide. It's the opposite, trying to leverage the digital platform to close the gap and to be able to get as many and help as many business owners as we can.
So there's one more question and then our time or 30 minutes is up. Can you believe that? Pretty quick. So the question that came in is regarding the cultural barrier. A lot of businesses of color don't like to share their financials. And that may be a barrier to entry. How are you thinking about that?
Yeah, it's a great question. I have a couple of thoughts, and Marcela, you should add on to this. Well, first, like Marcela said in the intake form, we don't require you to disclose your financial information whatsoever. We understand that that is sensitive, and we want to give you the option to keep that confidential. And then we think that the way of engaging with the advisors on the phone is conducive to sharing things on the phone that might be a little bit less risky than putting in an email or in a form once you've established that trust with the business advisor. And again, we try to match businesses to business advisors where we think that there will be a quicker path to developing that trust. And also, you should feel free to speak in general terms about the financials of your business if you're still very sensitive about it, even at that point. And you should just know that anything you do share, of course, is strictly confidential and won't be disclosed outside of Small Business Strong. And all of our advisors sign strict confidentiality agreements related to that.
Marcela, anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think it's a really important point in terms of maintaining that confidentiality. But I think I know the approach that we have taken in terms of getting the business owners to open up is by building trust. I think that the fact that we have a lot of business advisors that are bilingual and bicultural have helped a lot, because many of us are also business owners, and we do understand what the individuals that we're working with are going through. So I think that having that empathy and that understanding makes a big difference.
I agree with you. I think that although that's a barrier, I can see how having an individualized or an individual consultant talk with you, where you connect with and feel comfortable, then that sort of information will kind of float to the top. Well, Matt and Marcela, thank you so much for joining the Aurora webinar series on Small Business Strong. Again, if you want to access the curated content and get the resources you need in order to build your company back up, it is www.smallbstrong.com.
There you go.
All right.
Thank you, Josefina. Thank you for everyone who's watching us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
We'll talk
Josefina.
soon.